Hi. If you've ever wondered what are the behaviors that are common in an entrepreneur, well, you know what? We're going to go through and we're going to talk about that over the next few minutes. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. So, I started my first of 15 companies when I was 19. I have built them, bought them, sold them, wrecked them. I've worked with hundreds of leadership teams and organizations across the planet, and I've helped, I don't know how many 10x growth, dozens and dozens, great exits. And we've even got 4 that we've worked with that started from an entrepreneurial phase and got all the way to billion-dollar market caps. But people start wondering, well, what are the behaviors? What are the behaviors that impact that? Who are these people that are these entrepreneurs? And I have to tell you that in most cases, most entrepreneurs are more risk adverse than what people present it as. And what I mean by that is that typically people do a lot of research. They dig in, they go step by step by step rather than going all in. It's one of the common mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs make, or people who are working to start an entrepreneurial exercise, is they think they have to go all in. That's it. That's it or nothing. And the reality is that it has never, ever been so easy to start a business. It's never been easier to start and very successfully and very, very safely, step by step by step, walk into those. So people say, hey Kris, you've had over 15 companies. Man, you must be a huge risk taker. And candidly, I'm not. I've looked at hundreds, if not thousands of companies. To me, what is a big risk is being in a place where I had a boss and my mouth could get me in trouble. That could get me fired. That to me is risky. But when I look at starting a business, I go through step by step and I start figuring out what are those things that are gonna light me up. So when you're going through the process behaviorally, the most important thing is finding something that you love. If people think, oh man, I'm gonna go make a bunch of money. But I tell you what, I have worked with people who make a lot of money and hate their life because they don't enjoy what they're doing. There's an old adage that says you find what you love, you never work a day in your life. It sounds trite, but it's actually true. So one area that I would suggest that you start with is starting with the end in mind. From a behavioral standpoint, define what does success look like for you. Now, if you want, you can go to theaspiringsolopreneur.com. That's where you can find information on this book. But there's a tool there you can download called the Balance Wheel. And this balance wheel will help you download to start to define what success looks like on a holistic level for you. The reason you do this is from a trait perspective, from a personality trait. Understanding what are your motivations and why you're becoming an entrepreneur. If you're doing it because currently you're working at the office 90 hours a week and you haven't seen any of your kids' soccer games, well, maybe your motivation is you want to be a better parent. Maybe you've been stressed the bejesus, and as a result, your health isn't where you want it to be, and you want to take back control of that. Remember, when you're an entrepreneur, you get to make the rules. Now, you're ultimately the one who's accountable, but you get to make the rules on how and when you choose to do that. So first we start with that end in mind. Where is it you want to go? What does amazing look like for your life? And then very methodically, you're going to be able to step back into it step by step by step by step and figure out what it is what is my value prop? Where are the areas that do I need to train? Do I need more training? Do I need better skills? What are the tools that I need? And then start figuring out step by step where you want to go. In a lot of cases with solopreneurs, it is amazing, but you can actually start to where you transition very safely to where in some cases you start moonlighting, meaning that you're doing work on the side. Then obviously do this above board with your boss, but it allows you to very safely start testing the waters. Because you say, oh man, I love doing this. I think I'd be great at this business. Well, if you go in and you go all in, you take a mortgage out and you put everything in there and you step into that and you find out you hate it, you're screwed. because the likelihood of getting your funds out is going to be hard. But if there's ways that you can start figuring out what are those things that matter, then what are the areas that I really love? What are the things that I'm great at? Where am I good at? And then start figuring out where can I make money at those points, and slowly but very purposely start to step into it. And in other videos here on YouTube, we'll go through and talk about how you vet this out, how you figure it out. Now, one of the big areas that people get all wigged out about is like, yeah, but I have to learn how to be a marketing person. I got an attorney, and how do I set up my corporation, and do I get a location? And I was like, whoa, step back. Remember, there are people out there who are also entrepreneurs in marketing, in accounting, in law, in all these different spaces. And one of the things that we teach people is how can you then build a team of advisors around you, a lot of times at almost no cost, to where you can figure out, okay, this is what I want my life to look like, step one. That's my behavioral. All right, I want to live this way. Maybe it's about money, great. If it isn't, maybe it's about freedom. Maybe it's about time. Maybe it's about personal growth. Then what are the areas, number two, that you really love, that you're good at? And then how can you intermix that into where you want to be? And then the third point then is start building a team of advisors around you that are great at what they do. You don't have to be everything, but you do have to figure out, how do you hire those people? How do you find those people? How do you figure out who is going to be my best team of advisors? And then very slowly start to go out and test your product and service, and to a point where, how do we know to where it's like, I like to call it a no-brainer. When you end up saying, God, you know what? I'd be an idiot not to do this. That means that you're probably safely going to be able to transition from one business into the next. Now, the vast majority of the businesses that I've worked through and built have been successful. It's not because I'm brilliant compared to anybody else. It's because I very much research those. I go through and I test it. I find out when somebody is interested in what I'm looking to do. How can I test and hear what they say? And maybe I think it's going to be one way, but through the process of learning and doing my own internal market analysis, and again, there's ways to learn how to do all of this, and we'll go through these in the different videos, but it helps you to start understanding, all right, what is my ideal product? Where do I want to be with it? And then you can very safely transition into that. Now, coming back full circle, people are like, well, dude, what are the main attributes? What are the main behavioral qualities? Well, some of the main key cornerstone qualities is that when you're an entrepreneur, particularly if you're a solopreneur, you've got to be 100% accountable for who you are. It's that person you look at every morning when you're brushing your teeth that's going to be accountable for the good and the bad. Don't be afraid of celebrating both of those. What can I learn from these things? But ultimately it comes down to you, and you got to own it. It's not a victim mentality. It can be an abundance mentality, but it's like, okay, I fell down. What can I learn from it? It's a side note. It's fun. I spend most of my time living with entrepreneurs, working with entrepreneurs, and big corporate people. If you ask, hey, what was your biggest failure? They're like, oh, well, and they dodge and go all around. You can really tell a true entrepreneur. We say, hey, tell me about your biggest mistakes. What was your biggest train wreck? I'll be like, oh my God, let me tell you this. I did this. It was a total shit show. But the thing is that we learn more from our failures often. And with this, you get better and better and better and better at it. So, accountability, embracing that there could be some creativity and that you may need to pivot are two components. And three, being cautious on how you approach things. Those are three of the primary behavioral traits. So, would love to talk to you more. Hey, please subscribe. Keep to the channel. If you like this, like it. And we'll do a bunch of other videos that help people specifically look at how is it you start and grow your own solopreneur journey. Keep smiling.